This is Jonathan Sugarfoot Moffett, and you're watching the Ask Dino Show.
Dino.
When you talk about Madonna and Elton John, you're talking about major, big, huge tours.
Yes.
Okay, now what I want to know, and I want you to tell the drummers out there, how do you prepare yourself? Because most of the guys out there, they're playing small venues, they're playing, club dates. They may get once in a while opening act, but how do you prepare yourself mentally and physically to go out on a big, huge, mega star tour? What did you do to prepare yourself? Because we all know after 2 or 3 weeks of traveling and playing and all that pressure and thousands of people, your body can go down. How do you prepare yourself to be able to withstand that playing these major tours?
Well, I think mine started with the conditioning as of playing. When I practiced when I was young, I would practice up to 8 hours a day, and that's not 8 hours, sit on the drum for 8 hours, but 2 hours at a time, 2 hours and get away from it, an hour or two, then go back for 3.5 hours, and go back, and then take a break, go back for another 2 or 3 hours.
Right.
And I had practice days because I lived and breathed drums when I was a kid. Through doing that over and over and over for an hour and 2 hours at a time without stopping for 2 hours, you develop tolerance, endurance, and stamina.
Right.
Tolerance of pain and tiredness and fatigue. You develop because you keep pushing through. Say, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. I used to tell myself, I'm in control of this body. I tell it what to do when it's going to stop or not. That was just a mental exercise I did.
Right.
So through that mentality and discipline, I developed my stamina and tolerance, which helps me now this much further in my career because I worked on it when I was a young kid.
Right.
And that's why I'm able to do what I'm able to do and play for so long. Yeah. The rest of it is just knowing the rules and regulations of the professional world.
Right.
And adhering and conforming to what that is,
And resting and not partying too much.
No.
And you got a major star that's depending upon you.
Exactly. And I want them to call me back because it's not the initial call that's important.
Right.
It's the callbacks. When you get called back, that's the most important call of all. When they call you back and say, I want you again. Not when you first get it, because that could be a fluke, that could be something they're trying you out. But when you please them and then they call you on the next tour to come back, that means more than an initial call.
Well, Michael called you back for 30 years, so that shows you right there, this man knows what he's talking about.
I like living this way. I like loving this way.
Another killer track, dude. That's awesome, man. And thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing that music. Okay, now I want to talk about your Christmas CD. Let's talk about that. Now, are you singing on it, or are you singing?
I'm actually doing lead and background vocals. All the vocals on the CD.
Who knew? Who knew? Go ahead, tell us about it.
Well, I wrote the first Christmas song, "No One Should Be Alone at Christmas," way back in 1988. So I did it like pop R&B style. Real commercial music, and I wanted to be, and some funky dance music type music too. So that was my first song there, and just to see if I could do it, and I realized I can do this. Then I said to myself, let me see if I can do a cover song. So trying to think of cover songs, I said, okay, what's natural for me? Little Drummer Boy. So this album is actually 20 years in the making.
Oh, and do we have a website for you now that we can go to?
You can go to www.jonathansugarfootmoffett.com.
About 2 weeks ago, Jonathan Moffett came to my studio, and at my studio, my brother Jeff, who is the artist who paints these things behind us, he had painted a couple paintings of Michael Jackson, and Jonathan came in, and he was very struck by this painting back here to my left, and he really liked the painting, and he said we really got the image of my brother, captured the image of Michael Jackson. Now, my brother painted that for me in the studio a couple years ago. But we're going to present it to Jonathan for coming down and doing the show. We're going to give him this painting here. We're going to give it to him for being the great drummer, the great friend, for him to come down here, and also his contribution in music with Michael Jackson. So
wow, that's amazing.
The painting is yours, man.
Thank you so very much. It's amazing. Thank you so very much. It's remarkable artwork. I mean, just incredible. I walked in, I was so struck by it and felt Michael through the photos, the painting, that he did, and all the other artwork as well. It's just, he's extraordinary. I mean, I was just blown away, but that he's presenting me with it is like, oh my goodness.
Just before we go, I always give the guest the opportunity, but I really would like you to tell the young artists out there, because we have a lot of young artists that watch this show. Just give them some advice, something maybe we didn't hit on, something that you could tell them about the music industry and also about being a good human being.
Okay, the first and most important thing is to be ready for any circumstances when it comes up, because opportunities will come and go. The main thing is to make sure you're prepared and ready, and that takes practice, practice, practice. Before you know their music and what is entailed in that, you have to know yourself and your abilities and your vocabulary, your discipline, develop dynamics and discipline. So I first recommend become one with your instrument. Any one given day, that phone can ring and it can be your call. And if you're not ready, you missed it. Then you're back home, you know, you're wondering what happened. So that's very important. I think also disciplines of being ready also to work on a professional level, knowing there's give and take, you know, and you're working with other people. So you got to take all the considerations, because you're basically a traveling city. When I go over to Europe with Madonna, when I go to Europe with Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson, it's like we're a family, we're a traveling city. So we have to tolerate one another, and getting along is very, very important, because if something happens in a foreign country, you're all you've got. Remember that you're a representative of whatever artist is. With Michael, every time I went with Michael, I was a representative, a diplomat of his. I have to carry myself in a certain way to keep up his stature of professionalism and respect in the industry and the world, you know. So I wear his banner every time I step out the hotel room. So you try to carry yourself in that way, in that manner, and with respectability, and it comes back to you in positive ways.
Well, Jonathan, I can't thank you enough. I hope you guys listen to him now, because out of all the guests we've had some great guests on the show. This man here has been through anything you can imagine that you may go through in your career. This man has been through it with the top artists, okay? Not just playing gigs in the studio we're talking the top #1 artist in the world. So I hope you guys listen to him. So Jonathan, thank you so much for coming down.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. A lot of good information. Okay. I want to thank David McNeil, our producer, Gordon Michael, our director, Jeff Maddalone, our artist, Steve on the boards in there. This is Dino Maddalone, the Ask Dino Show, and thank you for watching.
See you.
They say, why? Tell them that it's human nature. Why? Tell you it that way. They say, why? Tell them that it's human nature. Why? Tell you it that way. They say, why? Tell them that it's human nature. Why? Does she do it that way? Why? Tell you it that way. And they say, why? Ooh, tell them. Hey, does she do it that way? Why? Hey, tell you it that way. And they say, why? Ooh, tell them.
Dino Maddalone, the Ask Dino Show, and don't forget to send your questions to the Ask Dino Show at AOL.com. Send in your questions and your videos. We will put them on the air. Thank you.
Dino, he knows.